but Shaun, what do you want to focus on? Like, what do you do? I don't know if you covered that with Natasha before I jumped on, but I missed that part.
No. Well, I guess what is the show about? I am the typical shiny object, jack of all, kind of master of none.
I like it.
Like within but that is something I'm trying to change right now too.
I like it.
I am, not in a 10x realm, which is something that really bugs me in the real estate industry, like trying to be bigger and better and, a bunch of young kids. But I am actually trying now, and part of this transition, to have a small team of people that know how to do things better than me. I know everybody knows how to do things better than me, but I've never been able to let go. So in that regard, in real estate, and I could talk to any of these points. Like I was working full time and bought a house, and then over a period of 10 years transitioned into a full-time real estate investor. Buy and hold is absolutely the backbone of what has allowed me to do what I do now. I fix and flip now. 1 year I tried to do 14 in a year and I almost died. Now it's one at a, like, seriously, like,
oh, really?
If you want to talk mental health, I had a journey. Like it was insane. And maybe that's for a different conversation.
I think all these things are great, because where we're tailoring the show is to people who, I mean, if they want to jump into real estate, great. I will talk to everybody about real estate. But some people don't do real estate. They just want to start a business, but they don't know where to go or what to start, or what's my first move, or what are some of the struggles of owning a business? Because like you were saying, you flip 14 houses in a year, but everybody's goal is to like retire early. You were like the farthest thing from retired when you're flipping 14 houses a year.
Oh,
so it's not a glamorous game. You're not sitting on a beach sipping Mai Tais, raking in millions of dollars when you start. So getting people the real story of people who start companies and where they go and where they take it and how they developed and resources they use, like those type of things is what we're trying to get out to people, so that it seems a little less scary when they get into it.
And I the real estate business wasn't the first business I started. So I did actually start a medical equipment company, which I ran for 8 years successfully and then sold to a national company. And that was the final transition to full-time real estate. So my wife had a full-time job. I had the medical company full-time. And then we scrimped and saved. Like, we had nothing, we weren't given, but we put everything in the middle and bought houses. And then at a point, we kind of looked at the real estate, and the real estate was worth this, and my business was worth this, and her business. And we're like, well, why is no one taking care of this full time?
Yeah.
So at that point, we were like, well, which business was better to sell? And my medical company was easier to sell because Jennifer is my wife, and her business is Jennifer Spinelli Consulting. So we sold that, and then so I was the one that drew the short straw, I guess, and had to go full time into real estate. So starting a business, running a business, I'd never do it any other way. I would only ever work for myself again. But if health insurance is top priority, I mean, I don't think about how that's like number 923 on my list of priorities is my health insurance. Yes, I have good health insurance now, but when you start a business, there's so many other things that you have to address. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I think this country has so many opportunities and resources for people to niche down, find a specific thing that you are good at and start a business in. That you are the one writing your paycheck, and that is a huge deal for a lot of people. Now, with the internet and with all these opportunities, you don't have to go full time into starting your own business. But if you want to start your own business, you have to do something on it every week. You have to put time aside and improve it a little bit or push it forward if you are serious, and start to see maybe one week, you made $100 doing it. And that is super cool. And a lot of times, like even myself, I forget to celebrate that win. I was making nothing and everything was here, but now, dude, this week I made $100 doing this thing that is actually super fun for me. And then maybe slowly start to bring it up. But yeah, I think everybody has the ability to do it.
Yep.
It's just understanding that. I'm very like I love getting fit. I'm not fit right now. Relative, yes, but not where I was. But I'm very much into like trying to get faster on a mountain bike, that kind of thing. And I got very fast. And throughout that whole process, again, this talks back to anyone could do it. My mindset was anybody could do what I'm doing. You just need, like, to ride a bike fast, you just need the right information, and then you need to get on the bike. And then slowly you get faster and you start beating people and you get faster and faster. And I think that is the same for a business. Anybody can do it. You just have to get on that bike and do training consistently every day, every week, see the long-term picture. Like it's not $1 million overnight. Not what I did anyway. There's kids out there that muddy the waters, 10 million bucks in 3 months or something. Yeah. Not me.
And you'll see ads on Instagram and Facebook about that stuff, like get into wholesaling and you'll make $12,000 your first month. And it's like, yeah, maybe, but like get prepared for you not to make 12,000, because if you sell 12,000 and you only made 3,000 that month, people are like, oh, I didn't do it. I'm not good at this. And I'm like, you just made $3,000. Like you didn't have $3,000 last month.
Yeah.
But now take that 3,000, do that again. And maybe you make 4,000 the next month. Who knows? But it's a positive. So maybe after the show, those people that are scared to get on the bike will feel more comfortable. Hearing your story, hearing what you went through. So if you don't mind, would you give us, like, I know you did in the beginning, could you give us, you said you worked on some part-time jobs in high school when you were in New Zealand. What were those jobs? What did you take from those things that led you into, like, I'm going to start my business? Because there's not a lot of people that start with, all right, I worked at Walgreens in high school, but I know that I want to jump into starting a medical company. So, and I don't know if it was a Walgreens. I just threw it out. It was
I mean, I've worked at our version of Pizza Hut, Domino's Pizza, worked at a crappy Italian place. I mean, I'm not sure I realized that I wanted to start a business back then, but I mean, just showing up, I think that's probably something
huge.
I saw that people that showed up got rewarded. They got more money. They got management positions. It probably wasn't until I actually graduated from college and was working for someone else, Hell for Leather, that I thought, like, wow, this is really tough. There must be a better way. I mean, I was seeing 20 patients a day.
Wow.
And that was what I was expected to do. It was really tough. That actually destroyed I shouldn't say destroyed in case John watches this. I mean, he was a super good guy. He's not, I'm sure he's not, but you never know. I learned a lot from him, but it was really hard work. And then, like, going from working for a small company, then working for a national medical company, I kept just seeing all of these inefficiencies that meant I got less money. Like, so honestly, I wasn't trying to change the world. It was like, how do I make more money and work less? And I was working so hard. Like, my claim to fame, I was working for a national medical company. I was by myself and I was ranked number 4 in the whole country for growth. I was competing against stores that had 50 employees. Just by myself, I was number 4 in the country, but making like $300 a week. It was brutal.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, it was brutal. And so
I wonder
was
how
like,
much money went to the company through all those sales, if that's what you were making.
Well, I know exactly, because I started the exact same company, and it was a gold mine.
Yeah.
To give you a very small insight into the kind of money you could make, I could buy an oxygen machine for $400. And at the time, I could rent that oxygen machine to a Medicare patient for $250 a month.
Really?
Wow.
That medical device had a 5-year replacement guarantee on it.
Dang.
Yeah.
So after month 2, you're already profiting. You're in it.
It was, there was a kind of a less than horse cart thing for me, but yeah, it took me a while because there's a lot of paperwork to get a Medicare contract. If you tell like someone that works for a national company that Shaun Martin running out of his, house had a Medicare and a Medicaid contract, they'll be like, what? Like, how the heck? There was 6 months where I was going down. I got about 50,000 in the red, but I expected that. I'd saved for that. My wife had a full-time job, and so we weren't in the red per se, and maybe that's a big scary number, but that's how much money I kind of spent. But I that was buying oxygen machines, giving them to people while I wasn't getting paid. And I knew as soon as I got the contract, I would start getting paid. So month 1, down. As soon as I got the contract, month 7, I was making, I'd paid myself back and was making more money. It was really good. Sorry.
No, yeah. I mean, you're always going to have your initial investment too. So, I mean, you kind of have to plan for that.
Yeah.
And to get that back in 7 months, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
The return, I saw where the revenue was. I'd worked in the industry, so it was, I'm normally not that, I wouldn't go into any business right now and say, hey, throw 50 grand at it. Absolutely not. I had worked as a healthcare provider, so I had a good background. Then I worked for a national company for a long period, so I knew where the money could come from. So it was almost another degree on top of a degree. Just picking anything out of the blue just because you like it, I think you need to have an understanding of that and do research. Which I wasn't making a lot of money, but my research was my job. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was during that job where I thought, inefficient. I'm working my butt off. I'm going to go do this by myself. Instead of even going to work for another company, I was like, no, because I'm sure it's the same at another company.
And I think it's good that you had that background. You didn't just like, I like this thing, I'm going to throw $50,000 at it and we're just going to see where it goes. Working in the industry, and that's what I kind of tell people that ask me about real estate or how to get into real estate. Go work for free for just for a month. Go help somebody out. If you want to be an agent, go help an agent out. There's no agent that's going to say no if you're like, hey, I'm interested. I want some help. Could you guide me, or could I work for you for a little bit just to see what it's truly like? And go do that for a little bit and see if you like it. You're out time, but you're out time doing something you thought you'd like. And if you don't like it, you're out. Just don't do that. It's something easy, something small. All you got to do is show up and see if you like it. And it's a good start.
I think getting your feet wet is for free. That's absolutely what I like to do.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get a little bit of an insight, because again, with real estate, like I know guys that are making 7 figures selling houses, and everyone thinks that they're going to do that. It's a 25-year story.
Yeah.
It took them 25 years to get where they are, but yeah, they sold a $10 million house and people think, whoa, like that easy money. I'm just going to get a real estate license. And it's what's that? Like every overnight success story took 25 years.
Yep.
And if you want to build something that's sustainable, it is going to take, most of the time it's going to take time.
Yeah.
But it's totally worth it, I think.
Yeah. I was just watching something. It was Mark Cuban talking to, I think it was like Kevin Hart or something, but he was talking about how he got started. And he said he bought his first sports franchise for $8,000. And then he had some thought of broadcasting those games on the radio, like right away. And it wasn't a major league team. It was just a small market team, bought for 8,000, put it on the radio, quickly brought it to TV. And he started the network that showed the games. And then because he brought them to TV, he was able to sell them for like some $1 million. And then he bought the Mavs with that money. And now the Mavs are worth some $1 billion. And it all started with an $8,000 investment on a team that he grew.
Yeah.
But like him being the Mavs owner started decades before by that one team. So it takes time to get to where you need to go. But he didn't even know he was going to buy the Mavs when he went into it. But it's weird the things you do years or like now, what they turn into in years from now. It's the process that you got to sit. And some people want instant stuff. Some people are willing to wait for the fruits to actually sprout.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a different mentality that some people have, some people need to develop, some people don't want.
I think it, like, even how do you, like, that story, like just listening to it in my head, I'm like, oh, that's so, the Mavs, that's never going to happen for me. Like, how do you get across to somebody that you don't have to have the Mavs either?
Yeah.
Like, I sit down at meetings, like, this is not about starting, but, you know, progression through real estate. People will say to me, look, I have three houses plus 3 rental homes plus my primary here in Denver, but I want to level up, or I want a 10x. But I say to that person, like, you've got like a primary home, you've got 50, some of these people now have 50, 60, 70% equity in this person in 3 rental homes in Denver. Like, yes, there's billions and trillions of dollars out there, but dude, you own 4 houses in the wealthiest country in the world.
Yeah.
Like, what part of, like, we need to, or people I think need to understand that that's really good. Or even, it's not sexy, but if you don't ever invest, but just buy a primary house in a place that you like, pay it off over 30 years and be content, you're going to retire really well in this country.
Yeah.
I know that's not sexy or anything, but it's a pretty, like, 1 to 10 or A to Z, how to retire in America. That's all you have to do. Now, if you want to go and make an extra $100 on the side, then and grow something else, absolutely. I mean, in real estate, getting into it, I hate all the buzzwords and stuff, but house hacking is a fantastic way to get into it with Airbnb, or just there's a lot of people renting rooms now in their homes. I mean, I couldn't do that. My wife wouldn't allow that anymore. Like, you know, we've kind of moved past having roommates, but I think that's absolutely a viable option here in Denver. You know, houses are expensive. Let's say $500,000. What's a $500,000 mortgage? I think is like maybe $3,500. I'm not totally sure. I'd have to look it up on a calculator. But you could probably, like, if you got 4 bedrooms, you rent 2 of them out at $1,000 a room, because that's what things go for here. Now your mortgage is $1,500. Like, getting into real estate, that's not how I did it, but it's absolutely, there's lots of interesting ways and affordable, I think affordable ways. I hope, you know, saying $1,000, like, well, 3,500 or 500,000. I mean, these are big numbers. So I hope they don't scare people, but
it's all dependent on where you live. The hard part is now we've got this weird cultural thing where, okay, when I go to college or university, like I'm gonna find a house to rent. It's not like I'm gonna find a house to buy and I'm gonna rent the other half out. Like that's not, it's not programmed in our mind. And when you run into college with someone who does own the duplex and they rent the downstairs or rent the upstairs, they're like the weirdo. Like how did you think to do that? And they're like, now knowing where I know now, I wish I could go back to college and do that. But it was completely over my head. But that's things you can do when you're young. Like when we're our age, we don't want roommates anymore. It's not I've got a son, we don't need a roommate. Like we're past it. But when you're younger, that's a great way to get into it. You're paying down your equity when you're in college. How about that graduation gift? You sell the house that you just rented for the last 4 years and take all that equity that your roommates just paid you. Like
my wife and I absolutely agree that when we were younger, we thought there was no way we could afford a house. We look back knowing, you know, a little bit more, and there was 5, 6, 7 different ways we absolutely could have purchased a single family home in communities like Boulder. And that single family home would, the $100,000 it cost then, which was absolutely astronomical, would be worth 1.2 now. And that might make people think they've missed the boat, but real estate or just the economy generally, inflation, how it works, it's a cyclical thing. Like, and over a long period of time, it just does this. And as long as, you know, there's going to be this, and as long as you don't have to sell here or anywhere, like as long as you don't have to ever sell in real estate, you will win. If you have to sell, maybe guys like you and I, you know, maybe we're picking that house up for pennies on the dollar, and that's no good if you're, but as long as, over that long period of time, you don't have to sell, you'll do great in real estate. And even though the numbers are much larger now than they were when I first bought a house, you know, in like we moved that graph back this way, in another 10 years, maybe we'll say 20, because right now we might have we're not sure. So certainly over 20 years, if you buy a house right now, in 20 years time, you will be stoked that you did it. If you just pay it down and don't have to sell, and you just take care of that thing. And if you do it just out of college and have roommates.
Exactly. And that doesn't need to be a power company where you're trying to get the next big millionaire through real estate. You could buy 3 houses and be completely content. We've had a couple people on the show that are like, I'm not a real estate mogul. I don't desire to be. Like my time, we had one guy that was a hunter, and he renovated his cottage up north, which is his hunting ground, and he rents that out Airbnb when it's not hunting season. So like he renovated a spot for him and his buddies to go hunting, but when they're not using it, it pays for itself because he rents it out to other people to do retreats and family getaways. And then he owns, I think, his parents' old place that he rents out as a long-time rental, and then he owns his own property. And he's like, I'm done. I'm happy. It pays for what I want to do. I still hold my full-time job, which I enjoy. Those people, like more of those people would be great. We don't need real estate moguls, just people that care about it and can pass like that little bit. Like don't try to do this for millions and millions of dollars. Just do it for quality of life, where you have an equal balance of income and then like happiness, and then fall somewhere in there. Anything more is great. But like what you were saying, like you're transitioning to another phase where you're trying to get more simple mentally.
It's one of the beautiful things, I think, in a country like this that we forget about, is that you can have a work-life balance.
Right.
Like we don't, to really exaggerate it, we don't have to walk 10 miles for water. To bring it closer, our supermarkets, you know, COVID aside, well, even in COVID, no one starved because of COVID. Now people are starving in this country, but it wasn't because of COVID. You could still get food.
Yeah.
And there's so much opportunity here but for some reason it does get blurred. Maybe it's again the media, but there's so much opportunity to get enough. The problem is, you know, you get enough, and I'm absolutely have fallen into this. I still do every other day, like thinking that I need more.
Well, average is
I
kind
don't
of
know.
like a no-no here. Like, you don't want to be average. Don't be
And
like the other guy.
if you're not growing,
Yeah.
you're dying. Or there's that saying, like, if you're not growing, you're.
I think that's what it is. If you're not growing, you're dying. I think it is.
But it's not like. I guess then it comes to like it's the money is the most easily measurable, objective me versus them. If I have $8 and you have $4, I'm $4 better than you. But if this guy has $20 and I only have $8, he's $12 better than me. So I need to get up there.
Yeah.
But I mean, money is literally, and I hate using the word literally, but it's literally made up. And it's such an objective measure that's in our face, and we need to earn this money to buy food and stuff, but it gets so entrenched that for some reason that we need it, and then we, you know, unless we got a private jet to really exaggerate the other end, we're not going to feel good. And until we have a private jet, that's when I'll feel good. And I mean, my friends and we've had this conversation over and over again, like, okay, there was a time when we thought, oh, imagine if you had 10 grand in your bank account, you know, then you're going to be happy, then you're going to feel secure. And oh no, then you get 10. Well, what if I have 100 grand in my bank? Then I'm going to feel good. And again, I'm not saying that I'm any, like, I don't have these million, you know, that's not what I'm saying. Like I've been lucky at least till now to go through that process of, if you have more, it will make me happier, but it hasn't to this point, not the more. Other things that I've tried to do are starting to make me feel happier, and not even like, well, reading a book, it's not about the pursuit of happiness, you know, like you can't always be happy. But yeah, more money having enough is key for sure.
Yeah.
And it's sad that people in this country don't have enough. And I mean, one of my things is I'd love to help people learn how to have enough and have that balance. Like, if you work an honest 40 hours a week, in this country, you should be able to have a family if you want one. You should be able to buy a house if you have one, or if you want one. You should be able to retire at some point if you'd like to. That's certainly not the case in this country. I'm not going to solve that, but I have a friend that does. Oh, he started a nonprofit called Cycle Effect. It's so cool, and they take at-risk young girls in our community and educate them in regards to that there's opportunity, but that it takes work. And kind of the physical side of that is they have to come to mountain bike training 2 or 3 times a week and then race. And then so they learn team building, and that a consistent effort improves your ability. And then they try and transition that to like other parts of life. Their goal is to try and get, you know, college isn't the goal. You don't have to go to college, but this community, most of the time, none of their families have ever been. And every one of these girls that they've seen, and they've now had hundreds go through their program, have ended up in college.
That's awesome.
Again, I want to exaggerate, like, you don't have to go to college to be successful, but it's certainly one way to show people that you know how to commit. Maybe
Yes.
That's a good way.
And that's the coolest thing. I've had discussions with my other teammates, because I played baseball in college, And to be honest, most of us didn't go to college for the education. We went for baseball.
Yeah.
So it was the running joke that like they want to see your college diploma. I never bought my college diploma from the university. I didn't need it. I don't need it hanging over my desk to remind me that I sat through all the classes and I did the hours of work. But to get that diploma, all it did was it proved that I could show up to class and I could do my homework and I could pass my tests and I could study. So that little paper is not like, the employer doesn't look at that and be like, oh, that's a great piece of paper. No, they look at it and they're like, okay, this kid sat through this university for 4 or 5 years. He passed his classes. He did what he needed to do to get through. Like that proves to me that they can do what we need them to do. They can stay focused at least. But we are starting to see a little change in our culture where college is not the answer. You can do things without going, which I think is a cool, unique thing that we're not going to see the residuals for 20 years, I don't think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, going down that lines, I would say the same thing, like to emphasize your point, 4 years of college, that's great. But if someone came to me and said, look, I've had this job for 4 years, I showed up, you know, I made some, I learned for those 4 years, and now here is a recommendation from the guy that was paying me to do this. I mean, yes, you've learned some very specific things in college, you know, so maybe, and you need those to go into a certain realm, but this for me is certainly just as valuable and ticks a lot of boxes. Like, I'm not saying that then that person should be a doctor or something. Like, there's
industries and
but if somebody can prove that they can show up and work and be consistent, I mean, that's what college is about to me.
Yeah.
And then you'd argue the person that was making money instead of paying is probably smarter.
Yeah. All the people, like I had a buddy in high school, smart dude. He was so good with numbers, but he was not a school kid. He wanted to go out and do stuff and like do things with his hands and get dirty. He was just that kid, but super smart. Tried going to college, didn't work out. Tried a different college, didn't work out. Took a couple years off and then got into HVAC. And he went into trade school. He started getting paid. I was still like in my last 2 years of college and he was making like 60, 70 grand. Like, that was a pretty smart move on his part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
big fan of the trades.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah. And he loves it. He just went on his journeyman. He just graduated from that. So like he's full out into his career. He loves what he's doing, and he never spent a single dollar on college.
And if there's a zombie apocalypse, what do you want? Like some guy that knows how to weld, or some guy that in an extremely clean situation could do your books, or I don't know. Like,
in Armageddon, we don't need accountants.
No.
Right.
Just to count dead bodies, I guess.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So we only have like 7 minutes left, but I wanted to get into, so you mentioned you do a lot of buy and holds, and those are your backbone of your business.
Yeah.
You do some flips, but you were talking about not really pumping the brakes, but taking your foot off the gas pedal a little bit, just to help your mentals go through this, because you're stressed out doing 14 flips a year. So what are you transitioning to? How are you mentally staying focused and ready while you taper back a little bit? Like, how do you stay hungry but not aggressive?
I mean, 14 flips was a number of years ago. How do I stay? I mean, how do I stay mentally focused? I mean, I've transitioned a lot into finding off-market deals, so through SEO, online stuff like that, and it's like a grown-up computer game to me.
You said it's SEO?
Search engine optimization.
Okay.
SEO.
SEO. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes.
Ranking #1 on Google for sell my house for cash.
Yeah.
So that. So transitioning from flips. Sorry. I mean, #1 for me, I know a lot of people do a lot more. It it became a mental health issue to the nth degree. It ended up a place where if I brushed my teeth one day, that was a successful day.
Man.
So it wasn't so much a matter of initially a conscious decision, but it just was forced upon me, where there was probably a 12-month period that I did little to nothing. And thankfully, I'd gone into the non-sexy side of real estate, and that is being a landlord. And, you know, rents were collected. I had good tenants, thankfully, too. And actually 99.9 out of 100 tenants are good. I know people, you just hear the bad stories.
Yeah.
So that kind of took care of itself for the most part while I, just kind of recovered. And then I had to just set black and white limits. I will not do one more. Well, actually, for 3 years, I said I'll never do a flip again. But then I have another never rule, which is never say never except for smoking tobacco. Tobacco gives you, smoking kills you. It gives you cancer.
Yeah.
Look it up. It's not
that's an objective truth.
That is real. Smoke, you'll get cancer. Smoke, you'll get cancer. It's anything else, moderation, give it a go. Not saying I do, but so then I said, well, okay, maybe there is an opportunity to do flips. And this was a huge lesson, like real estate, all of these non-sexy things. You make the money when you buy, and that's absolutely the truth. And so I started to do SEO and talking about flip. It was more to buy and sell, or buy and hold, like find a really good deal and hold. But then I was finding some properties that just didn't really make sense to hold. But if I took them down, was an absolute no-brainer to flip. And I'm talking, they use baseball analogies in real estate all the time. First base, I'm talking grand slam. Like I'll touch a flip or look at a flip if it's a grand slam, not a home run, like grand slam. So if I mess up, I still make third base. So and I think for anybody that's getting, and certainly for me getting into real estate, like it is hard to find those deals. And so your numbers start to change all of a sudden. And even for rental properties, now you don't include CapEx. So your cap rate comes up a little bit, or, well, you forget to put in insurance, your rate comes up. But these things, it's, you can make any deal look great if you want to.
Yes.
Like you just take stuff out, and I see it all the time. And I still fight it. Like, I'm like, well, if we just, maybe I get that $12,000 windows. I'll just round it down to 10.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the numbers there. But so the transition, as much as I'd like to say it is objective, at the time, it just kind of organically happened. And now my transition is trying to understand why that happened and what I did, and write those things down so that I can do them again, or learn from them in a objective way. Like if I write it down and it's on a piece of paper and I do it again and it works, I can say, well, this works objectively, this works.
Yep.
And if it doesn't, I can then make a change to it, and then try it again with the change. And then if it works. And the funny thing is, my wife is a well-paid process person. She is like, she'll go to Denver airport. She used to do a bunch of work for them. And if they needed something done, like on a very grand scale, like 9 figures, she would ask the questions so that the process was taken care of and things weren't missed. Now I'm the airport's up here. This is a huge scale. I'm like, airport's now way up here, down here. And I can't get this thing that she's like, basically she says, just write it down, do what you say is written, or do what's written down. And then if it works, great. If it doesn't, you can make an objective change to it.
Yeah.
So that might.
The process is huge, especially if you do want to scale. Like you need the process. And even if you don't want to scale, even if you just want to do one flip a year, have a process.
Yep.
If you want it to make sense and you want it to feel like you are in control, write it down.
And it's not a bad thing to make things simple. Like make it simple, make it dummy proof that if I gave it to my 8-year-old, I could walk him through the instructions. It's not a complicated thing.
And on top of that, if you're getting into real estate, and this is something I'm learning too, and why networking is important. You're probably not you're not reinventing the wheel. You're doing something that thousands, millions of other people have done before. So if you can, don't go out like I wouldn't say, and I feel like I'm trying to impart some grand knowledge, but it's not about finding a mentor per se, but just showing again that you're like going back to the guy that show up, ask good questions. And if you ask questions and someone gives you an answer, try and then go away and learn from that instead of coming back the next week and asking the same question. I'm okay with people asking me how much I pay for flooring, but actually I don't even know. I know I have that's not true. How much I pay for flooring used to be a very big deal. And I know now what I pay for flooring, but it doesn't matter so much. And like, I used to be like, what kind of flooring or this, or how much do you pay for? And those are very important things, but you only need to learn that once and then you write it down and then
Yeah.
And then if, you don't have to really revisit it even with inflation. I mean, went up 7%. So probably this year it's 7% more expensive. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
But if it's written down, that's a really good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I know how much I pay for flooring actually, because I am a small.
Yeah, and like I would know what we paid per square foot maybe, but people ask me all the time like, oh, how much did the floor in this house cost? I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I'd have to look. I don't know. I know it was like something per square foot, and I guess it was around this square foot. So you do your quick math, and you're like, there's my guess. I'll look. But
that's like I've got a friend who runs a construction company. And so I generally know, but if I'm feeling a bit off, there's a price check. Hey, Patrick, what is, does this sound right to you? And then I add value to him in another way. And so if you are just getting, again, it's like, if you want to do, gosh, I'm trying to, again.
Well, they do. They actually make books now that go over the whole nation of pricing. So if you wanted to put in a driveway, it would go nation average and give you the price of what you typically pay for like a driveway at this size, or flooring or lights or siding or drywall. And like all the numbers are in those books. You obviously have to buy them and update them year after year, and doesn't account for inflation and all that stuff. But if you want to know averages, like you can go on Amazon and get the book that will break it down by I think it's US national, and then like Southeast, Southwest, Midwest, and East. And it gives you those like it's all there. You can listen to podcasts about people who've done it before, and you can Google how do people break down their rehab costs, and there's sheets, templates that you just have to fill in the bubble. Like it's all, don't recreate the wheel, like you were saying.
No,
it's there.
And the what we're talking about, for me, it's taken me 20 years to learn. So
so any 22 23-year-old out there listening, like, do it now. He's giving you advice in the future.
I wrote this down: plant a tree. This really cool saying was, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time to plant a tree is today.
Yeah.
And I like that.
I get like all of these old things are just really starting to, like, cheesy sayings like buy low, sell high, or that one. Like, they're just really starting to come home, as there's a reason why these truths have outlasted everything else. And so for real estate, you absolutely haven't missed the boat. Right now, you've got to be a little cautious of what you buy. You want to make sure there's good value in there. How do you cover those costs? But if you're a college kid and you got friends and you want to have a party house, you probably don't care about beer cans and stuff. Like, I wish I could go back and buy a 4-bedroom house wherever I was. If the deal's good, you'll find money.
It's true.
I wish. Yeah,
it's true. And I think we found the name of this show. The name of the show is We Plant a Tree.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm naming it that. It has to be. I do like the saying, it's perfect. It's basically like the best time to invest is yesterday. It'll grow over time. Just do it. Invest in something. Invest in yourself.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people tell me, oh, anybody could have made money in 2010. I did. You're gonna hate me, but I bought a house for $50,000 I can sell for 500.
Yeah. Anybody could have made money, but only some did.
Not many did. And yeah, most of actually all of my friends that are friends didn't.
Yeah.
My real estate friends that know who I am and what I do and what we're worth, or what like know the ins and outs of my business, they are not I still have other friends that are great friends, but they didn't do that, and so I can't have those conversations with. But that house that's 500 today is still, you can buy that house and still make money over the next 10 years. Absolutely. And with real estate, it's just such an equalizer to balance over a long period of time. You know, buy low, sell high, don't sell when you just sell when you want to, don't be forced to sell, those kind of things. And in 20 years, you'll be a millionaire, and $1 million in 20 years will still be a lot of money. It was 20 years ago. It is today. Anyone says otherwise, I'll pick 20. I'll always pick $1 million up.
Yeah.
Like if it was on the floor, like right there.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
Yeah,
it's never gonna be chump change.
Yeah, it's not particularly sexy or anything like that. I'm not that 10x kind of guy. There's so much noise in real estate. Most people that know me consider I'm a very successful real estate investor. I go to those stupid meetings and hear all the noise and think I'm doing something wrong. Like, yeah, it's a tough industry.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah. But yeah, it's absolutely something to get into, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I know we reached our hour, but we'll have to set up another show because we didn't really get into like drill down into what you own and where you're going and the locations and all that stuff, which is great. I know that you're not the power performance investor, which I think we need more people that just love it and do it to get happiness. I think that's a healthy thing to do. So if there's anybody out there that is curious about your journey and your path, like what is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Probably, I mean, I have as I alluded to a little bit, websites. The first ever website I created was Watson Buys, as in Watson Buys Houses. Watson like Sherlock Holmes, so WATSONBUYS.com. Click on any form or anything like that and say you want to talk about real estate. I love talking about real estate, and certainly if the person on the other end is genuine about wanting to learn about it. That would probably, I mean, you could, awesome. Or Shaun@watsonbuys.com is my email. I'm on that email more than anything else.
Awesome. Well, we'll put those in the show notes so that people can reach out if they have questions or anything like that. But we'll definitely try and reach out because I want to see where this next journey takes you. Because it's not a lot of people. We've never had someone go from the 14 flips, like the power, trying to get more and more real estate, and then transition to, I just want to get an equal balance, a healthy balance. So if you don't mind, I'd love to have you back on just to see where you're at next year. Dude, has the transition worked? What have you found? What have you learned? Like that whole journey, because that's a huge mindset switch.
Send me, I'm happy to talk numbers. I mean, not all the numbers. How something.
We don't have to do all the numbers. None of the shows get really, really number wise. I'm not going to have you like, hey, look at all your deals and tell me the average. I don't want to do that too, because that bogs down people. It bogs the show down. So
if I told you my numbers, people would I know how it makes me feel, and the deals that I do now, like a Grand Slam flip in Denver, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Again, it took 25 years.
Yes. We just talked to a guy in Hawaii who was buying teardowns, and the last teardown he bought was like 700 or 800,000 to tear down
Just
and flip.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a final sale price with where we're at. So it's all about where you're at and where you're buying and how long you've been in and what's your capital like. So there's always differences, but
I'd love to talk more. If I could somehow help someone, like if I don't know how to structure something. So if you could give me an outline of how to structure exactly maybe what you'd like to see, I am happy to talk some numbers for sure. But I don't know if that would, I know it wouldn't particularly help me. Like I said, like if I told you I made 200 grand in 2 months off one flip, that wouldn't help me. That would make me feel like, what am I doing wrong? Well, right? If you just made $20,000 on a flip, you won. But if you hear some guy made $200,000 on a flip in half the time, you're like, what am I doing wrong? And that again goes back to that mindset of not celebrating your own wins, or everybody else is doing better. And that, $20,000 is still a lot of money and a huge win.
Yeah. 20,000 you didn't have before.
Yeah. So process and things. Yeah, I'd love to talk more about it, because it would probably help me try and sort it out in my head.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. And I do on my bucket list have Red Rocks on my list. So when I get out there, I will definitely give you a call.
It's 5 minutes away from where I'm sitting right now.
Oh, really?
Oh, I love it there.
Yeah.
So when I get out there, I'm going to call you because you're going to be my tour guide out in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Colorado was a fantastic. I'm more versed up in the mountains, but that's where the fun stuff is.
Yeah.
Nothing against Denver and people that live down here full time. Like, it's a great place too. But yeah, I love the Rockies. I love Colorado. I love the sun shines 300 days a year, man. I mean,
know.
that's legit too. Not like, oh, it popped out for 20 minutes. Like, yeah,
I've been to Colorado twice, and once was during the winter, and I remember shoveling. Yeah, I remember shoveling.
There's cloud now, but I think that's a sunny day.
That's a sunny day.
For sure.
Yeah, no wind, nothing. Yeah.
The perfect Colorado weather.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just enjoying it in paradise. Well, enjoy it some more until we catch up next. Hopefully I can catch up with you in person before we have you on the show again, because I know we're booking out until next year for the show. So
come on out.
My hope is to get out there. Red Rocks has been on my list since I've been 17. I think I saw a YouTube video of a concert at Red Rocks, and I was like, what is that place? And I've always wanted to go see it. Always.
What's your like bucket list band at Red Rocks?
It's changed throughout the years. Like because when I was in high school, college, like Dave Matthews was big, and I want to see a jam band, because like the acoustics there is good. So I don't want to see anything like computerized or anything there, just because the venue, like the music is good and it's got its time and place. But for a venue like that, I want to hear like the actual acoustics of it. So like a Zach Brown or I don't know, I think a folk band, like a Mumford and Sons, where they have a whole bunch of instruments and you can I feel like that would be the best venue for it.
Yeah. You agree, Natasha?
I do agree. I love Zach Brown. He's my favorite. Mumford and Sons is good too, but Zach Brown.
And I'm seeing Chris Stapleton in Milwaukee here, but that'd be another person I wouldn't mind seeing at Red Rock either.
I feel horrible that I haven't been to Red Rocks to see a concert now.
You haven't? And it's 5 minutes from you? That's your homework assignment, is to go to one of those.
Kidding.
I ride my bike around there a lot. It's cool. But yeah,
I'm sure they have great trails, like all up and down the mountains. So yeah. That's cool. Absolutely. Well, maybe our first concert will be together. We'll round everybody up and we'll just caravan over there.
Right on.
The long 5-minute drive.
Southwest.
Awesome.
Cheap flights, always on time.
That is true. Well, I'll take a look at that. We'll schedule something, but I know Natasha will reach out for the next show. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much. The mentality you have going into it is great, and keep spreading the word, because I know people are going to listen and it'll hit.
Don't get me wrong too. Like objectively, I've learned how to make money. If someone wants to learn how to make money, it's just not, you know, and I'm going to continue to make money. There's no, you know, it's a way to measure your success, but yeah. And it's okay to want to earn money. It's okay to, like, I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
Like I'm all about it, but I think we're missing that. It's so easy to get caught up in it. And I think that's it's almost a little sad, because we, you know, so many people that are actually doing really well. And if they thought about it, have a great life. So, and we miss that, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree.
Cool.
Well, awesome. Well, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the, I'm guessing the bike riding over the weekend and the skiing.
Absolutely.
So enjoy all that stuff, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Marcus. Natasha.
Appreciate the show. See you guys.
Bye.